Now, I want to show you what I call the credible reconciliation cycle, because that's what this comes down to. You want to fix your marriage, but you also want to make sure that you're not just fixing a broken marriage that turns out to be a broken marriage. You actually want to build a healthy marriage. So let's talk about the credible reconciliation cycle. I'm going to give you a universal roadmap. Okay, let's see. Credible. Boom. Yeah. So the cycle starts or is triggered by the same trigger. Okay, it's triggered by the same trigger. Secrecy. All right, it's triggered by the same secrecy. Right. So you've encountered, you're traumatized. I guess I can call it trauma, right? From a past affair in your marriage, right? But you've worked on it somehow, some way, somewhat. But recently there's been some funny behavior. So now you're suspecting possible secrecy, right? Or you perceive secrecy. Let's call it secrecy, right? So instead of going in the direction of suspicion or dwelling in suspicion, instead we're going to go in the direction of grounding. I'm going to tell you what that means in a second. Grounding. Okay. Now from grounding, you're building capacity, right? Then you can observe from that place of grounding. Okay. You can observe. So observe is not this active surveillance thing that we talked about earlier, right? It's a little bit different, maybe a whole lot different, right? One is being driven by fear, and this other one is driven by grounding, right? Right. So I'm going to put standards here. Standards. I'm going to explain what that means to you in a second, okay? Walk with me. Standard. Okay, so we have standard on the board. From a place of standard, you're able to build value. Okay, make sure you're subscribed to this channel. If you are subscribed, you know that after value, you are going to create curiosity and attraction. Now, why is that important? Because you wouldn't have to beg a person who is attracted to you to help you in rebuilding trust. You wouldn't have to ask. They are desperately trying to make sure that they rebuild trust. That's a little bit different, right? So I'm going to put curiosity, and then I'm going to put them together with attraction. Okay, they usually come together as a combo. All right, and that helps you build stability. And put that here. All right, that helps people stability. All right, everything else is chaotic. Anything outside of stability is chaotic. Let's see here. Work with me. All right. So from curiosity, you build stability. And then even if you ever have to see anything, you're never going to know everything about your partner. Sometimes there might be things that have the appearance of secrecy. You know exactly what to do. You're no longer rushing to have suspicions and start doing surveillance. You go back to grounding. Okay, now let's get into this one after the other. Let's see what this means. So secrecy, right? The same exact trigger from previously, right? Because in real life, things happen. Life happens, right? Life happens, especially in life. And especially in marriage. The same triggering behavior remains the same. It will happen occasionally where you have a certain level of doubt for whatever reason. Or in this case, you're the person we're talking about. You've experienced betrayal from your partner, right? There's been an affair in the past. So recently you're seeing some suspicious behavior that that takes you back to that dark place, right? So you notice guarded technology, passworded, separate phones in the house, like another phone device in the house, inconsistent answers, continued contact with somebody they told you they're no longer friends anymore, right? Just any other behavior that does not align with the claim that their affair has been over, right? So you take that concern seriously. You should take that concern because it's triggering something in you, right? But you don't want to immediately allow it to determine your emotional state. This is extremely difficult to do, especially if you've experienced this in the past, especially if you've been roaming around the internet where they tell you that once a cheater is always a cheater. This is an extremely difficult thing to navigate, because we can also agree that just up and leaving is easier said than done. Of course, it's always easy to do on the internet, right? So instead, you go in the direction of grounding. What do I mean by grounding? You return to your center. You have enough in you. You might not realize that you have enough in you. You might be going through something right now that makes you feel like heaven is about to fall out of the skies. You return back to so many things in your life that you can point out that will remind you how blessed you are. I know that's difficult. That's easier said than done, because it's easy to see the whole world is about to collapse again, right? It's easy to see life in that from that lens, right? So now you want to be intentionally going back to God, into prayer, into gratitude, right? This is very difficult to do when you feel like you're suspecting that your cheating partner who cheated in the past is still cheating. That's like why would I ask you to go do that? That's unrealistic. Well, it's realistic, right? It's doable. You just have to decide what is the end goal for you. You want to save the marriage, not just save the marriage, but actually build a healthy marriage, or not. It's completely up to you, obviously, right? So there's some things you can't control. You have to give those to prayer, but there's so much you can control, and you and I have to work on that. Well, you have to work on that, not me, right? Not me, unless, of course, you want me to help you. But I'm saying you have to work on that, right? You have to work on those things you can control. You have to regulate the choices you make from this point on, because you still have choices to make. Yes, even as a victim of betrayal, right? So grounding does not require you to ignore the evidence. The whole point here is to pretend like nothing is happening, but it prevents the fear for selecting the wrong tone, right? The fear that makes you select the wrong tone, the panic that makes you completely go chaotic, right? It helps you in terms of identifying the right timing, the right strategy, and things like that. And the more you do that, the more you probably will be tested, but you build muscles. You understand? You build muscles, but then you will start looking out for the right type of evidence. Maybe it's not as bad as you think. Maybe it is that bad. Either way, you have a choice to make, right? So now we're dealing with observation. Let's go back to the board real quick, right? So I've explained grounding, observation. Now, remember, you're not just falling into observation. If you just fall out of the skies of secrecy into observation, you're going to start bugging the cars, right? You're going to start tracking locations. You're going to go crazy, okay? You're going to basically lose yourself in that process, because you will never find enough evidence. Oh, yeah, that's how real it is, right? So observation, you start evaluating patterns. There's a difference between evaluating patterns and just going crazy cuckoo because you saw one piece of evidence somewhere, right? You're observing patterns rather than isolated moments, right? Not only are you doing that, you're doing that from a place of grounding, meaning you have enough in you. Because if you don't have enough in you, you're going to self-deplete, right? You look for consistency between words, access, behavior, right? Whereabouts, right? Accountability. Why are you doing all of this? Well, you have patience for yourself, first of all, right? So the other person's, how they decide to move does not determine the rest of your life. temporary to some extent, but you're not here doing surveillance again. But of course, you're still paying attention, because some people have the fear like, are you asking me to trust again